What's up, everybody? It's Spencer Hawes here with nichepursuits.com, and welcome back to the show. Today I've got a great guest. His name is Marcus Krupp from WPTangerine.com. And I had never actually heard of WP Tangerine until recently, and I'm a little bit surprised since they've been around since 2015. Marcus is the co-founder, although he actually runs it himself now in terms of his partner's gone on and done other things. We talk about that in the interview here. But I wanted to dive in and ask Marcus how he's built his business. He's got hundreds of clients. He has nearly 60 full-time employees, most of them based overseas in the Philippines. But he's grown WP Tangerine, which does task-based jobs for WordPress users. So if you have little things that you want fixed in WordPress or set up in WordPress, or even minor SEO tasks like fixing broken links or putting in meta descriptions or meta tags, they can do that, and it's for a flat rate. So you might pay $97 a month or $47 a month. There's lots of different plans that you can sign up for, and they'll take care of them. And they also do, as I found out, graphic design. So you could actually kind of combine the graphic design tasks that you have, the WordPress tasks that you have, and maybe some minor SEO tasks that you have, and have one point person at WP Tangerine. So it's a pretty interesting service. I'm not going to lie. If you are interested in trying out WP Tangerine, Marcus set up a 50% off coupon for your first month. So you can try it out for 50% off your very first month. And the coupon code is WPT Niche 50. So if you can remember that, it's WPT Niche 50. And of course, you can go through the URL of nichepursuits.com/WPTangerine to get to the landing page there to do that. But I think you'll enjoy this interview. I dove in with Marcus to ask him why he started it, how he launched it, a lot of the marketing strategies that they've used, and we dive into some of the email marketing strategies that are working well for him, in addition to what are the systems and processes that he has in place to actually run the business. With 60 employees, it can be a lot. It can get cumbersome. And so he's been able to set up systems and processes to make sure he has the right people in place and the right checks and balances in place to ensure that they don't miss any of the tasks that you might be sending in. So there it is. There's the quick introduction. Here is Marcus with WP Tangerine. Hey, Marcus, welcome to the Niche Pursuits podcast.
Hey, Spencer, great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to connect and talk a little bit about the company you've built, WP Tangerine. But before we dive into some of those details, it'd be great to get your background, just kind of understand some of your business expertise, education, or just other experience that you've had. So what were you doing before WP Tangerine?
Well, WP Tangerine is real quick, a service to help people with their websites. So with their development, design, support needs, and it's kind of a flat rate service. And we just try to make things very simple, easy, and very good, high quality work for our clients. And how I got here with this business. Well, out of college, I did finance. So I worked in New York for a few years and worked very long hours, sometimes 100+ hours, a lot of weekends, late nights. And that was good. And what I liked about that was you really dug into how things work and do due diligence and stuff like that. And then, but I always kind of knew the corporate thing wasn't my thing. And so I went to, I ended up going to business school, and then I started working with an entrepreneur in Menlo Park in California, who was kind of really well established in solar finance. And we worked for quite a while on a solar finance venture, and talking to a lot of the major players and doing some financings and things like that. And I saw, kind of up front, he was kind of, making things happen just with a laptop. And for me, that was kind of a new thing, and, just shooting presentations to people, going to, big corporations and meeting with people. And it was just us two and another guy for a long time. And I really liked that. And I saw him do it. And, I thought, wow, I could, kind of run my own show too, and get into business for myself. And so that kind of, I was like, I got to do it. And I started kind of a path of figuring that out and trying new ventures, and ended up freelancing for a while, building websites, running Google ads, random projects, CRM projects. And and this is kind of, I would say, is my first successful business, first one that worked, that it's been sustainable and really healthy, and has a really nice long-term future.
Yeah, so let's dive into maybe just briefly some of the ventures that you did start. Sounds like you got the bug, the entrepreneurial bug. You wanted to kind of work for yourself. You saw somebody else maybe doing the laptop lifestyle a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And sounds like you tried a few things. Can you give us an idea of the time, like year-wise, when you were doing this? And specifically, like, were you just trying to build little niche websites, or were you launching a little product that you were selling with Google AdWords, that sort of thing?
One of the guys I was building websites with also did a lot of internet marketing with. And, so I kind of got acquainted with that and joint ventures. And, and that kind of took me into the Bay Area. Wine is a big thing there. And so I had this idea for recommendations, recommending, winemakers recommending wines, and then later wineries recommending wines. And so we had a site. It's not up anymore, but it was kind of, we would get winemakers to actually recommend their favorite wines. And, we had some traction there, and sold some wine, and people seemed to like it. And I regret a little bit not sticking with it. And then we kind of pivoted. I picked up a new partner, and we pivoted towards kind of utilizing the winery's email lists. Because I saw joint ventures and kind of cross recommendations, and guys like Eben Pagan, I would be subscribed to their email list. So I was like, oh, we can do this in the wine space. Turned out we did get traction, and we were kind of running for a while, and we were making some money. But it was just so hard going to these wineries and getting them to do like a new thing, a new behavior, kind of something that they're just, I don't know if I want to email my list about another winery. And, I think it could have been great, and would have helped wineries go direct even more. But sometimes, even if it's a good idea, it's not, it just doesn't quite work out. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, no, that's good to know. I always find it interesting to hear sort of what people were doing a little bit before they hit on their big idea that stuck, right? So clearly WP Tangerine has stuck for a little while here.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that even for me and other people listening, that sometimes you have to make a few mistakes. You have to try a few things out. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But eventually you hit on that idea that does, right? And it sounds like that's where WP Tangerine came along. And so maybe you can dive into what was the genesis of the idea.
The genesis was, we were doing a lot of, a lot of freelance work, and starting to work with people in the Philippines, and other countries. And kind of initially was like, is there something here? The people we're finding are very good. They can do different, stuff in IT and different customer support roles and stuff. And can we kind of turn this into some type of staffing business? And So we actually did that for a while and did some business with that. But just kind of we ended up saying, wow, websites are hard to deal with, and I had gone through the process of hiring people for websites, and before you know it, you can spend thousands of dollars. It's what you kind of have a set price for getting the site built and whatnot. And then you have some updates and you have some new features you want, and your designer is sending you a $2,000 bill, for so it can really add up, if you're kind of in the startup framework, how much cash flow and you're outside of the corporate thing. So yeah, it just really made sense to me to get to kind of put together something very affordable, flat rate, that could do a lot of work and really excel at customer service and helping people kind of get their site how they want it, and providing recommendations, and looking out for them in kind of a developer designer type of task framework. And WordPress is great. WordPress is a lot of people still don't know that you don't have to do any coding for websites, and you don't, and that's I still see people kind of not clear on what a plugin is, and WordPress is just a beautiful platform, and kind of with the our team mostly in the Philippines, WordPress just reduces your costs a lot because you're not coding up new features from scratch, and
right.
That's really a game changer. And some people know that, but a lot of people still don't know that, and so we get a lot of clients who, are expecting all this coding to be done actually. But, they're always a little bit surprised. We say, well, you really want to stick with the features that are built for WordPress, that are being, run and maintained by a capable development team. And so yeah, those two things, the Philippines and WordPress, we said, wow, this is a lot of value here, and we can create a great service with this.
Yeah, and what year was that you launched the service?
That was probably 2015.
Okay, so about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That you've been running the company.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it initially when you started it was more like, a little bit of a staffing company, maybe a little bit of building websites from scratch for people, but it sort of morphed to the more solid idea that you have now of the WordPress services for a flat rate.
That's right.
Right. No, very good. That makes sense. So how did you, was there any big launch when you sort of gelled on this idea?
No big launch. Big launch. We got a website up. We hired someone, and I did all the customer service. I did all the the selling, and all the I did all the figuring out how to get customers. And we just actually we were part of this co-working space in the beginning. It's called Next Space. It's still around a little bit in some forms, mostly in California. Mm-hmm. And at the time, they would let you email their whole email list, and they had maybe 15 co-working spaces around California mostly. Okay. And so we launched first. We launched our staffing through there, and then we also launched this, and we just saw that people really wanted it, and just that was exciting when you get that initial feedback is like, hey, I could use this, and you just that really kind of helped create the excitement to say, hey, this is what we want to do. Yeah.
And when you launched it, you had a partner, as I understand, as you and a partner that launched it together. How did you guys connect? And
we had worked on the wine stuff before. Okay. And that was he has a more of a technical background, and has done a lot of stuff in internet marketing and stuff. And about the same time, he kind of one of his past internet marketing ventures, he had an opportunity to buy the business, so he actually bought that and ended up doing that with a couple of friends. yeah, he decided to focus on that, and we're still friends, and yeah, it's good.
Okay, so he's
Yeah.
essentially exited and working on another company that
Yeah.
he bought into, and you're running the
Yeah,
show.
I'm running it with a lot of capable managers. Kind of one thing I've gotten really good at is just setting up, finding really good people and setting up systems. And yeah, we have some really, really, really smart, hardworking managers, and we have a really nice recruiting system where we look at a lot of people and we try them out and we test them out, and maybe 1 out of 20 or 1 out of 30 make the cut. So that's really helped a lot with just kind of putting in these systems that are sustainable and kind of lead to high quality product for people.
Yeah, I'd maybe like to dive into that in just a second. But first, to give people an idea of how successful WP Tangerine is today, what are you willing to share in terms of either revenue numbers? Of course, people would love that. Or just, any numbers that show us how big you've been able to grow the company.
Yeah, we're at around 600 paying members right now. So and so those can be on plans as small as $37 or something, and as high as $1,000. So
right,
it really varies, and our sweet spot is kind of in the $200-$300 range.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congrats, first of all. It sounds like you do have a pretty good sized team. I think on your homepage it has.
Yeah, we have about 60 people.
Yeah. Very good. How many of those are located like in the US versus either Philippines or other place that you might have developers?
Yeah, mostly all in the Philippines, and I have consultants in the US and in other places that help me with things like Facebook or SEO or and stuff like that.
Yeah. So to give people a little bit more in depth into the service, what's kind of a typical task, or what's kind of the most common task that people hire you guys for to do on a regular basis?
Yeah, it can be. It's really anything. We build a lot of new sites, but a lot of people also come to us with existing sites and they want to add on e-commerce, or they want to add in they want to build new pages. They want to set up Buddy Press. So just as WordPress has so many options and so many themes and plugins, and it attracts a lot of people trying to do different things. So it could be as simple as just fixing something, making a tweak, a CSS tweak, setting up a contact form, designing a new landing page and implementing that, setting things up in HubSpot or Entreport or other CRMs. So anything that you would ask a developer or a designer to do, we can do for you. I mean, the only thing we do some front end coding, of course, but the only thing we don't do is we don't code up a plugin from scratch. Right. And we don't do extensive PHP coding. We do have some very good PHP coders who can, fix things up and get things working right. But it's really not our model, and it doesn't make sense for clients. But if someone needs help, we can always do something custom.
Right. Yeah. So for the most part, I mean, it's more task based, right? A client might have a small task of, like you said, maybe creating a new landing page or configuring a certain plugin or form on their site.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or and also optimization, speeding up their site. Doing basic on-page SEO. Making sure their site is secure. Doing the basics too, the updates, the backups, the site monitoring. So it's kind of a complete, the site management service, as well as being your developer designer. And we also do graphics too. So we have a standalone design team And a lot of people I think what a lot of people like is the personal attention. So we have what we call client managers, which are kind of, you know, they manage the developer, and they also kind of manage the projects and the tasks, and just make sure the client's always happy, and we're updating them every day, and we're answering the questions throughout the day. So it's a daily service. So we're always there for the business and what they want to do when they have an idea or a project, and they don't have to go out and hire a new team or call that freelancer up they worked with, and the freelancer's swamped. So it's kind of a flat rate. You get a team that dedicates a lot of attention and time to you, depending on the plan that you sign up with.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And that's good to know, because I wasn't aware that you did the graphic design piece as well, right? Because obviously there's competitors, right, that they charge a flat rate for graphic design, but sounds like you can kind of do both graphic design, you can do the WordPress piece. And then I'm just thinking through scenarios of where I might use you guys. Like if I were doing an SEO audit on my site, right? I go into SEMrush or Ahrefs and I get a report of here's 120 broken links that I have on my site. Is that something I essentially turn over to you guys?
Oh yeah.
And they could go through and fix all the broken links and fix meta tags or meta descriptions or anything like that.
Yeah, we can go through that and work with you to get that all taken care of. And,
awesome.
So we're not, our flagship services aren't, full service SEO, package,
sure,
but we can do the basic on-page stuff, and take care of all those fixes and get those report scores up into the 90s into 100.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very good. So it's really, I don't know a better way to put it, but a sort of a full suite VA service in a way, right? But you probably work with multiple people on the team, depending on if it's graphic design or if it's a WordPress fix, right?
Yeah, you do. But you everything goes through your client manager, which is like a project manager, and they coordinate with the designer. And of course, we have project management software we use, and everybody sees everything, and there's no confusion. And another cool thing we do, we have separate people for quality assurance. And I don't think this is done very much. I'm not sure. But I just found that when we put this in, the satisfaction went way up. Because you worked with developers before. They're kind of focused on getting that done, and making it work. And in their head, it works. But, there's a lot of aesthetics and other angles to look at the task at. And, our developers are well-trained and stuff, but it's great to have another pair of eyes to just check everything, to make sure it looks good, make sure it's formatted as the best it can be.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, quality assurance, that can be big for sure. Even if it's just that, second set of eyes, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Are there any like quirky tasks that clients have asked you guys to do before, or any funny stories just about things that people have asked you guys to do for their sites?
Oh, we have a whole spectrum of clients. WordPress can be used for everything, from, we've had Fortune 500 clients to lawyers, doctors, and all types of e-commerce stuff. We've had adult sites sign up for our service. So we have had some interesting clients over the years. And as long as what they're doing is okay, and we're happy to help.
Yep. So let's shift a little bit to some of the marketing strategies that have worked well for you to grow your business. Is there anything you can kind of pinpoint as like, this has been our bread and butter marketing strategy that's helped grow the business?
It's a lot of little things. I would say one of the biggest one is referrals. Just doing a great job for people. We also have a lot of affiliate relationships that kind of, we work with people who send us a lot of kind of freelancers who like to build sites but don't like to do the ongoing work, and or just get leads that aren't for them. They've really helped us grow. What else?
Any paid traffic strategies or any social media or anything like that?
Some Google ads, some Facebook ads, Instagram. The major stuff. Some YouTube, some display. When I started, I was actually on. We got customers through Craigslist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So whole spectrum. But since we've been in it a while, we get a lot of referrals, which is nice because it can be expensive to advertise.
Yep.
Yeah. So that helps. Email marketing has been something that's been very important. I would recommend that, to people, starting out. Maybe it's a really known thing, but just being more aggressive than you think you can be on email marketing. If people sign up for your list, they're interested in it, and you can really convert a lot more people than you think you can, just by being persistent with the follow-up emails. And there's different strategies for that.
Yeah. So is it just more emails that's worked for you, or?
Yeah, I would say a big principle that I think works, and I see people, they often compliment me on my follow-up and stuff like that, is setting up our email marketing so people get an email a lot.
So what's a lot? Like,
I don't know,
daily?
I'd have to look, but yeah, when they first come in, we email them once or twice a day, or at least once every 2 days. And it makes sense. They're trying to make a decision. If you can give them facts they haven't seen, or kind of describe your value proposition, flesh it out for them, I think you're doing them really a service. So people actually, I think that's been a really big thing for getting up conversion rates. I'm sure my landing page, my homepage and stuff could be better. But if you can get them on, I think we have a high rate of conversion. Once we get them on our once they get on our email list, so I think that's been a big thing. I didn't really understand that in the beginning, as how important that is.
Yeah. I agree. When you kind of got a hot lead, right, that has just gotten onto your email list, like, you shouldn't be bashful about saying, hey, like, you just signed up, here's some great facts or tips, right? And you may do that every day for the next few days or whatever time period that is.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
They're interested in what you have. They're trying to make a decision. They want to know that you're doing them a service at that point, and you could always over email. So you have to be careful of that. But, you see someone like, I don't know, have you ever been on Frank Kern's email list?
Many years ago, but
I'm on one of his email lists right now, and he sends maybe 5 or 6 or emails a day. And,
it's a lot.
But they're sort of interesting, because he's writing to business owners, and I'm curious, and I
totally.
I just bought something from him, so it really works.
So it still works, right?
Yeah. So that's been a good thing. So setting up Entreport, which is our CRM marketing automation, and just, even if you just can quickly get those emails written, they don't have to be perfect. Trust me. That's something that's I think is a big thing, and I really I try to get our clients to do. I try to tell them, hey, you really need to set up emails. Yes, you have a lot of leads, but if you're not emailing them at least once a week or whatever it needs to be, you're really, you're leaving a lot on the table for yourself and for them.
Yeah, I agree. You mentioned systems earlier, and how important having systems in place have been for your business. Why don't you just kind of share with us a little bit what goes on behind the scenes, right? What are some of those systems that you have in place that allow you to run it so well?
Yeah. Well, one thing is having people responsible for people. Maybe that's a very simple thing, but I can't I can't really manage 60 people, for example, our client manager has 3 developers they work with. And so the client manager manages the 3 developers, and the QA is a part of that too, and the designer, but ultimately it's the client manager who is in charge of the results. And so that kind of system of accountability to go to one person who's responsible for the whole team, really has worked well. And I think a lot of agencies might not have that set up at certain points, at certain levels. So kind of having that clear system of people managing people and being responsible for their team's results, I think has really helped. Also, just writing out procedures,
Right.
that's been huge, and that's valuable. And we still do it today. And if there's any kind of confusion or something, we go over the procedure. We tweak it. We make sure everybody knows and they can refer to it. And that's been a big thing that's always worth paying attention to. But I think it's just really critical to find, someone that you can, just delegate to and kind of give them a nudge to say, hey, you're smart. You can figure this out. You don't need to ask me about everything. Yeah, we can. Yeah, if you want to ask me some questions, we'll work on procedures, and always kind of think about, hey, how can we make this question into a permanent theme for everybody to use, and so they don't keep coming back to you. So yeah, and we started with one staff member, and now we're up to around 60, and so it seems to work. And for recruiting too, we have a full-time recruiter, and
Wow.
So we sort through a lot of applications. We sort through we do a lot of interviews, and then we kind of set up developers on a whole extensive trial. So we actually pay them while we we pay them while we kind of, well, they're not working on client sites. They're working on kind of mock sites and we give them kind of mock tasks and stuff. And we
cool.
just how they work, and we make sure they understand our procedures and they're doing things in a timely way. And so we have a kind of, and that's important. Just finding good people too, who care, and really to work hard, and that's good.
Yeah, so I agree. Finding the right people sounds like you've got the right, sort of systems in place. So people are responsible for people, like you said.
Yeah.
And people kind of understand all the procedures there. But what kind of tools are you using to manage that process?
We use a Basecamp.
Okay.
Yeah. We also we let our clients, if they have a specific project management tool that they want to use as a dashboard to list everything out with us, we're happy.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Trello, Asana, Monday. Yeah. So we're flexible around that. But also a lot of people don't want to bother with project management software. So we let people just email in tasks, and we communicate through email and keeps it simple. But then we have higher people who kind of have a lot going on, and we move to a dashboard if they're not already using one.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. So if I'm already using Trello, you guys could plug into Trello and you just become, one of the cards that I move over, and I assign this to my guy at WP Tangerine, and he takes care of that card for me.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So that's been great.
That's very cool. Well, good. So, where do you hope to take WP Tangerine in the future? Like, what are the plans?
What are the plans? We launched a couple kind of complementary services. So a blogging service, and also an advanced SEO service.
Okay.
Yeah. So kind of we will roll those out and help people around that. So we have a few clients on both, and hired a very good SEO consultant, and a long-term SEO veteran to help me run that, and that's been a lot of fun. And so I'm kind of working on kind of making those, rolling those out into their complementary but also standalone services.
Okay. So are those outside the umbrella of WP Tangerine? Like, are they on different sites, or you can still
Yeah, they're on our site.
access them there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're on our site, and we sort of just let our members know about it.
So what would the blogging service be? Like content writers, like
Yeah, really good US content writers.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, very good. And an
Yeah.
advanced SEO service to do the
To
more
really
meaty.
take responsibility for getting you to the first page. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool. Well, you're speaking my audience's language. We're all about, we're mostly niche site bloggers, SEO guys. And so that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I may have to go check out the pricing, that you guys have for those services, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is an interesting market too, just like the website market. The pricing is all over the place. You could still go out and pay $50,000 or $100,000 for a pretty basic website these days. And
Yep.
people are still doing that. Whereas with WordPress, you can get it done for a few $100s, and kind of have your own website team for a small flat fee each month.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. So, if there were anybody out in my audience that's listening that, hey, they're thinking they want to start a productized service, obviously not to compete with you, but
Yeah.
what other advice might you have for somebody that's wanting to get into either, agency or productized service?
Yeah, I don't know. Like any business, you need to figure out how to meet customers. So that's a big thing. So you need to kind of get those initial tests underway. You got to figure out what people want, and hit different channels, and see where you can meet customers. And then you just got to really work really hard, because in the beginning you're probably going to be doing a lot of the work yourself, and and hustling, and but eventually you hire good people, and then you can focus on the kind of the next level stuff of systems and figuring things out. But yeah, I would say there you want something that people want, that is going to help people. You got to find a way to meet them in different channels, and then you got to find a way to do a great job, and always be improving.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's some good tips. So I know we talked about before the interview a little bit, if my audience is interested in WP Tangerine, you've put together a little bit of a discount, a special deal for them. Why don't you just kind of explain what that is?
Yeah. We're happy to help out your audience in any way. We love people to get a chance to try our service. So we just done a small, a really nice discount at 50% off for the first month. Probably you have a lot of WordPress sites in your subscriber base, and people have a few tasks that they've been thinking about doing, or they want to speed up their site, or they want to get a landing page built, or whatever they would ask a developer designer to do. You can use that discount code and give us a spin.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, definitely, it's got to be 90% plus higher of my audience is WordPress users.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it definitely is kind of in the wheelhouse here. And I have written down the code WPT niche 50 is what people can use for WP Tangerine. So WPT niche 50. People can check that out if they want. Marcus, it's great having you on the podcast. If people do want to follow along with you or get in touch with you, where should they go?
They can just hit up my website, WPTangerine.com. And my email is marcus@WPTangerine.com.
Awesome. I appreciate your time coming on, sharing your experience growing WP Tangerine. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, my pleasure, Spencer. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you.